It started as a joke, one that nobody expected would end in complete silence, tears, and a lesson that would echo far beyond the walls of a small-town gym. It was a Saturday afternoon in Brooksville, a quiet community where the local martial arts center had become a gathering place for dreamers and fighters alike. The mats were filled with energy, laughter, and the rhythmic thuds of gloves meeting pads. Among the group was Jason Miller, a proud black belt known for his confidence and humor, and a newcomer, John Kennedy, a thin, reserved man who seemed out of place among the fighters. Job had joined the gym only a week earlier. He was in his mid-30s, soft-spoken, with kind eyes and the sort of calm that didn't fit the noisy world of sparring and shouting. He often stayed in the corner, quietly watching, stretching in silence, rarely making eye contact. The others didn't know much about him and they didn't ask. That day, Jason, always the class clown, decided to lighten the mood. As everyone prepared for sparring practice, he smirked and called out, "Hey, John Kennedy, you wanna go around with me?" The gym burst into laughter. Nobody expected John to say yes. Jason was a seasoned black belt, strong, agile, and fast. John looked like he might have trouble just keeping his balance, but to everyone's surprise, John stood up. He smiled softly and said, "Sure, why not?" The laughter stopped. Jason blinked, half in amusement, half in disbelief. "You serious?" he asked, trying to hide his grin. John simply nodded, tightening the Velcro on his gloves with a kind of quiet focus that felt a broken bar different. When the bell rang, the gym expected a quick, harmless exchange, maybe a few jabs, a playful kick, then laughter all around. But what followed was something nobody would forget. John didn't move like a beginner. He didn't flinch, didn't panic. He moved with precision, every step deliberate, every reaction measured. Jason threw a few light punches to test him, and John dodged them effortlessly, almost gracefully. Then came the moment that froze everyone. Jason went for a quick leg sweep, confident it would take John down easily. But John countered perfectly. In one swift, fluid motion, he pivoted, swept Jason's leg instead, and brought him to the ground. The room went silent. Jason lay on the mat, stunned, not hurt, just humbled. He sat up slowly, blinking, and looked up at John, who immediately extended his hand to help him up. No arrogance, no smirk, just respect. When the session ended, the coach, a veteran instructor named Mr. Lee, pulled John aside. "You've trained before," he said, half stating, half asking. Job hesitated, then nodded. "I used to," he said quietly, "a long time ago." That night, after class, word spread through the gym John Kennedy wasn't just some random newcomer. He had once been a regional champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training for nearly a decade before life threw him off course. Years earlier, he had lost his wife in a car accident. Grief had crushed his spirit, and he walked away from the sport completely, saying he couldn't find purpose in fighting anymore. Coming back to the gym had been his way of trying to heal, one small step toward feeling alive again. The next morning, Jason posted a message in the gym's group chat. "Greater than yesterday." I challenged John as a joke. I thought it'd be funny, but what I learned was bigger than any fight. Respect people. You never know what battles they've already fought, or what kind of strength they carry inside. That message went viral within their local martial arts community. People began to talk about John not as the man who humiliated a black belt, but as someone who reminded everyone what true strength looked like. In the weeks that followed, John became a quiet mentor in the gym. He never bragged, never lectured, but the way he trained, steady, calm, full of patience, changed the energy of the entire group. Jason and John became unlikely friends. They'd often spar together, laugh between rounds, and share stories after class. And one evening, after training, Jason asked him what made him come back after all these years. John smiled and said, "Because pain doesn't go away by hiding from it. Sometimes, you have to face it one round at a time." Those words hit everyone who heard them. By the time the story spread beyond Brooksville, it wasn't about martial arts anymore. It was about resilience, humility, and the quiet power of empathy. The video clip of their sparring match recorded by a fellow student reached hundreds of thousands of views online, with comments flooding in from people saying it inspired them to stand up again after loss, failure, or fear. In a world obsessed with showing off, John Kennedy's humility reminded people of something sacred: strength isn't loud, and respect isn't optional. The day a black belt asked him to fight as a joke, nobody expected to witness a moment that would silence a whole gym, not from fear or shock, but from awe. Because what happened that day wasn't just about fighting, it was about rediscovering what it means to have heart. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the one who carries the loudest story of all.